Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining Tala Skills, the future of AI, the future of work with AI. Today, I have Josselin Caradec to give you a little introduction. Josselin has 15 years of international experience with basic research and drug discovery across France, Canada, and Spain. He has led both the scientific vision and operational execution of multiple discovery programs. His work spans the full spectrum of modality development, including small molecules, biologics, radiopharmaceuticals, and gene therapy, guiding projects from early concept through clinical candidate identification. He brings an entrepreneurial mindset and a strong track record in building and advancing early stage innovation, driving them from strategic evolution to hands-on operational implementation. 35Bio Limited, a biotechnology company developing first-in-class small molecule inhibitor of G protein coupled receptor 35, is now his baby and main focus. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you a CEO, an expert, and a founder, Josselin Caradec. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for the introduction.
Yes, I mean, I tried to make it everything in one big box. So thank you for joining me this morning. Maybe you want to tell a little bit more. I've given a brief introduction, but maybe you want to share a bit more about your background and evolution within life science in drug discovery.
Yes, happy to. Yeah, so, well, I started with a very, let's say, basic academic path with a master degree, PhD degree in basic science in Paris. And after that, I joined already a small, very small biotech company in Paris for a couple of years. But I think what was a game changer for me was to move from Paris to join as a postdoctoral fellow, half private, half public institute in Canada, in Vancouver, when I spent maybe 3 years just, playing with all the technological tools that this institute had, because they had this massive amount of money, this massive facility with 200 international people working in it. So that's where really I learned, the basic technological tools and how to apply them in science, really. And also at this time, so it was still kind of basic science, but this center was including some drug discovery teams, so DMPK teams, chemical teams, and so on. So I started to understand that when you have an idea and you want to make a drug, it's not just trying 10, 20 molecules, and when it's working on the cells, then you can go to clinics. That's way more complicated than that, and that includes way more areas of expertise that I initially thought. So yeah, that's something that really struck me, that I wanted to work in that specific field. So I looked for position, and I finally went back to France a few years after as a program director in a biotech company in Paris, in Dijon. And that's really when I learned the ABC of drug discovery, which is, of course, a core scientific expertise around the target and the therapeutic indication you are aiming to develop a drug for, but also all the other aspects: medicinal chemistry, pharmacology, toxicology, and so on and so on. So yeah, I worked in that environment for 4 to 5 years, and then I moved to Spain with my wife and my kids. That was more like a personal choice, a career choice. And that's where I started to support biotech companies more as a consultant rather than a full employee. And, I had a mission in a Spanish biotech companies working on gene therapies. And since the last couple of years, I joined this ecosystem in England, in Oxford, called Molecule to Medicine, primarily as head of biology for 35Bio, but now I'm involved heavily in the ecosystem to create new biotech companies. So that goes to target evaluation, to creating a biotech company and pushing as hard as we can the programs supported by venture capital money. Yeah, so that's where we are now.
Great. So that's multiple hat for you, basically,
Yeah.
being all over the place. And so, in all those different activity, what has been the biggest evolution for you, or the most challenging part?
Um, I mean, well, personally, the biggest evolution for me was to understand that, well, when you are like this PhD student, you have this core expertise in a certain domain, but if you want to understand how to make a drug and how to develop it, you need to, well, it's impossible to be an expert in all the fields, but you need to understand at least the language of all of them. So that was really, my evolution was to learn the different language. So within the scientific area, to understand how medicinal chemists were working, pharmacologists, toxicologists, and so on. And now I'm moving more to, let's say, operations, fundraising, and so on. You have this all of the aspects of what investors are looking for, how you can, understand their constraints and what solution you can bring to them. So that's at the personal level. Yes, the big shift, trying to learn the different languages, during all these years. And scientifically speaking, well, the breakthrough was, the technology. I mean, I'm, I remember, for example, when I was, a student, when you wanted to understand how, a condition A was modulating the expression of a gene, well, that was a hell of an experiment. So that it took a while. You had to do your GIL, took a picture of it, develop the picture. So that quite, a heavy lift. And now, you just send your samples and you have, the expression of all the genes in all your samples. So, within the same roughly amount of time, you have, a massive amount of data that, is completely changing the game in the way you analyze the data and the way you can move forward way more quickly in the understanding of your projects.
Great. Great. Okay, so I believe, yeah, like you said, you pointed out to the accumulation of data through the years, through the search and research that has been done. Today we are now able to way faster understand a way or understand an analysis. So that's great. And I will add to this now the involvement of AI in the mix.
Mm-hmm.
Um, how it has been for you, because you've mentioned the data, but does AI also add up to this?
Yes, it definitely does. I mean, in my work, um, I mean, I need, different, let's say, expertise in different subjects, meaning that I need to understand, uh, the targets. Okay, what do we know about the targets? In what indication it might be useful? Then you have all the, let's say, market competitive intelligence aspects when you evaluate a project that are very important. Then, of course, when you start a project, you need to make a drug, to invent a drug. So that's a combination of lots of different scientific expertise. So what can help you to go faster in that, and be more efficient as well. And finally, it's because when you project clinic, you have to really create a clinical development program with what are the biomarkers I can use, what are the patients that might benefit most of a drug. So all of these aspects somehow now are supported by AI. Um, but at this time, I would say, yeah, I use AI, quite daily, but it's more for me like a tool I can use on a daily basis that helps me to, take faster decisions and have more easily, a broader understanding on what's happening to a target, to a program, or to a clinical indications. Yeah, that speeds this decision process and knowledge understanding. But it's not, as of today, in my core work, let's say, a breakthrough in terms of the way I'm working. It will be
Okay.
hopefully soon, but as of today, yeah, that's more like a tool you use to help you.
Excellent. So you use it on a day-to-day. Would you say that it improves your productivity? Would you say that things are going faster, or would you say that you're more precise in the search and an activity that you do?
Yeah, it's a mix, a little bit of all of this. I mean, when you look at the way you evaluate a project or target, yeah, most of the time, you know, I receive ideas, or I have to evaluate ideas on a field that I'm not an expert in. So the first thing I need to do is to gather as much information as I can. So of course, without AI, well, that means spending countless hours on PubMed, looking for information on clinicaltrials.gov to understand, what are the drugs already in the field. Now with the AI tool, you can ask like, a kind of a report like 20 or 30 pages. That's going to speed up your understanding of a specific area. Acknowledging that even in this report, you might have like big mistakes, so you need to pay attention to this. Now,
Yes.
in my core work, which is how to make a drug, uh, yes, AI is more like a tool that helps you to the design of the molecule, helps you to analyze the data. But at the end of the day, the missing part here for AI is really how you can predict how your drug, will be metabolized and what's going to happen to your drug, in the living organisms.
Yes.
So far, AI is mostly focused on, okay, I can try to find your drug virtually that can bind to your target of interest. But now with all the tools already existing, which are not AI driven, like a very good medicinal chemist or engineer, is able to do that, pretty efficiently as well. So that speeds up the process a little bit. So that's always, good to take. But I guess, yeah, the main breakthrough we are all waiting is, beyond just this, molecule target interaction. Can we go beyond that and also predict, what is the most difficult to improve in a molecule, which is how it's going to be metabolized and how it's going to be safe in the body. Yeah.
This is very interesting because I'm thinking it's AI being used on a day-to-day as a tool um, to work on, on the creation of a drug. And I try to understand, does the AI is an intelligence, is the intelligence of AI, is that impressive in a way that he understands everything about science and he can also give some inputs on, for example, what could be the path for a certain drug?
Um, well, I guess you have like two answers to this. One is related to scientifically how efficient it is to help you to find the drug. Um, yeah, I think it might be, and I hope it will be in the future. The main, let's say, challenge for AI is the prerequisite for this, machine learning kind of technology, that you need to rely on strong data, to build, your machine learning. And
Yes.
that's what is the most difficult, either to generate or to obtain. When I was discussing about, pharmacokinetic data, prediction, or whatsoever, yeah, you have millions of molecules that have been through this, experimentally speaking, this process. But because these molecules are patent protected, or are the property of pharmaceutical companies and biotech companies, this is not something they share with everyone. So as such, you don't have a thorough database and you can use for the machine learning. So that's why it's so difficult.
Mm, I
Now,
see.
if you think, well, beyond, the scientific aspect, can help me to detect, okay, well, what patient, will benefit the most of the drug in a given indication. Again, yeah, that's helpful to give you some let's say some ideas, or or if you didn't, had some holes in your, in your process, it can help you to fill it a little bit. But again, you need to validate this at some point. And the way to validate it is to rely on existing data, which are related to human clinical data, which are related to firewall protected competitive intelligence data. So again, that's hard to pool, so you can apply AI in a very reliable way, I would say.
Okay, so privacy on everybody's work and everybody's advancement, it's quite private, so it makes it a bit more challenging for you to gather information from the intelligence from the AI to basically know, right? The right direction.
Exactly. Yeah.
I understand. So AI is still, yeah, limited, if we can put it this way, in a way.
Yeah, because you need to have a strong data set to train your model. But without this strong data set, which is not the case for certain aspects of the drug discovery, well, it's hard to move forward or to use AI in an efficient and reliable way.
Okay, I see. Clear. Thank you for the clarification and for the scope as well of how you use AI and then how it's being implied in your day-to-day activity. So just to understand, because you are in several shoes, right? And you see things from different angle. So my question would be, what's your take on the future of AI within life science, within your day-to-day work? Because today is just a tool. Um, is there any scenario where it can be more?
Ah, yeah, well, that's already, I have to say, like a very useful tool in all the aspects of my work. But yeah, I guess the main breakthrough we're all waiting is, how, can you use AI in a more like prospective ways rather than just to help to analyze data. So it's how can you predict the future of a compound, of a project, and so on. How can you predict, which is also, one of the questions we have to tackle when we evaluate a project, because by the time you start the project and the time, patients have access to the drug, you have generally, between, 7 and 10 years of work to do. So when you evaluate a project, you also have to figure out, okay, what's going to be the, clinical landscape in 10, 15 years. So again, AI might help you also to look at that. Okay, what are all the drugs in clinical trials? Now it can gather lots of opinions from different experts that help me on the day-to-day to, to figure out, what the future might look like for a drug, assuming the drug, reach that point. But, obviously the main point for me is, how can I be sure that if I start now, I will find a drug as quickly and as, efficiently as possible. Yeah, we need to rely on this to build this data set. So that for me, it's kind of like international and effort from
Yes,
both the private and the public sector. So
I
I know,
see.
you have some people trying to do that, but that's a massive effort for everyone.
Okay, I understand. And so 35Bio, just to get back briefly on 35Bio, it's conglomerates of several biotech, right?
Yeah, ThirtyFiveBio is one of the
One.
biotech
Yes.
included in a broader ecosystem called molecular to medicine. Yeah.
Yes, molecular to medicine is the conglomerate, the broader scope of different biotech involved. I don't know if it's in similar therapeutic area. I don't believe so. But the question I have is AI uh, incorporation and all those different establishment working independently. Do you think that a collaboration is possible with AI to basically improve the consciousness of AI or a better understanding of better path to take?
Yes, definitely. I mean, the way the molecule to medicine ecosystem is working is not a kind of a financial incubator tool, and then you have independent companies. The broad core expertise of the molecule to medicine ecosystem is um, relies in the people joining the ecosystem. So everyone, is dedicated to a single company, but also have a very important role in the collective intelligence. So what the executive team at MTM is working on very hard is how you can leverage this collective intelligence to speed up the development of the new companies. And when I look at what has been achieved, with 35Bio, which was the third biotech companies, we are already way faster and way more efficient. In a way, we are tackling the program and the drug and the speed at which we are going with that. So, but 35Bio is the third. Now we have a fourth, a fifth, a sixth company with hopefully many more coming soon. So that's how you can put this collective intelligence with the help of AI, to drive and accelerate the transformation of ideas into drugs. So that's how working in this kind of broad ecosystem is helping, because AI is benefiting all the companies and all the people within the ecosystem. So it's not like everyone, well, of course, every company has his, very detailed ask for a specific project, but whatever can be mutualized between all of us, is done, and that helps a lot.
Excellent,
Yeah,
excellent.
does that make
So
sense? Yeah.
yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So the collective information, it's used independently by those biotech, which help them to improve their specific search, which is the way I think we should view every study, every clinical trials. I say to a bigger scope, because it could be beneficial to a global on a global stage. So um, to be discussed, to be think of in more in-depth conversation, let's say. Jocelyn, so I think that could be the last question that I have for you, but given the current activity, the current progress, discovery as well that you have, uh, what's your take on the future of work with AI? What do you say you see happening in the coming years?
Uh, I think well, in the coming years, I think it's going to ramp up and help a lot. Well, on a daily basis, because we're all using AI, to generate reports or use these kind of tools to, well, avoid any waste of time and be more, let's say, efficient in our work. And I see really, this AI on a broader perspective helping them speeding way more the drug discovery. I mean, assuming we find a way to gather and normalize larger sets of data related to patients, related to experimental data from molecules. I mean, once we can achieve that, AI will help a lot and have like a huge breakthrough in terms of finding new drugs and and bring them to clinical trials way more efficiently, more reliably, and more quickly, and yeah, in a let's say in the cheapest way if possible. Yeah.
Excellent. Yes, let's hope for a better future, for a brighter
Yeah.
future.
Yeah.
Um, if someone wants to ask a question face to face, is there any conference you will attend in the coming month that would be a good opportunity for them to meet you?
Um, yeah, I'll probably go to, well, scientific clinical conference like ECHO next year. Um, yeah, people from the ecosystem would join some like GPM conferences. Yeah.
Excellent,
Yeah.
excellent. So thank you very much, Jocelyn, for your time today. I know you have a busy schedule, so I leave you to it. And thank you for everyone who has been listening to today's episode on the future of work with AI. This was Tala Skills podcast. Jocelyn, see you next time.
See you and thank you very much. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.